Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our trading room recording on Monday, the 19th of July, 2021. In England, it's what they're calling Freedom Day, where all government restrictions have been lifted so far as COVID's concerned, but they've also got the highest numbers of COVID infections that they've had in 6 months, guys. So we don't know how long Freedom Day is going to last for. It's a massive experiment. If it doesn't work out well, it won't be good for markets because obviously the rest of the world will be keeping an eye on this opening up. And if it doesn't work out well, then it basically says that, we're not going to get out of this anytime soon. 70% of adults in the UK are now vaccinated. The deaths aren't where they have been. But we'll have to see how that turns out. On the rest of the market, it's a risk-off day, guys. So that's the reason that I'm mentioning Freedom Day, because it's just one more straw on the camel's back so far as, risk on is concerned, so far as the market's continuing to go up. What we have to do now is keep an eye out and see if this is going to be the start of a correction or whether it's just a correction within the latest move up. We don't know at the moment, and when you get situations like this, it's easy to panic, guys. But as people who have been trading for years have always said, that when everybody else becomes fearful, that's the time to become greedy. In other words, when everyone else is selling, that's the time to buy. Now, it's always easy with hindsight, guys, looking back and going, hey, wasn't I so smart? I did the right thing and I came out of it really well. But when you're going into these things, you always go into them with trepidation. Now, it could be over tomorrow, but I doubt it. We're seeing a drawdown across the world. The VIX in the United States is up 9.16%. That's not good, folks. Yeah, that's not good. Gold's down, silver's down, copper's down, lumber's down, sugar's down, coffee's down. But wheat, corn, and soybeans are up. So, a lot of commodities are down. Oil's down for several reasons. The main one being that OPEC they've decided they've got an agreement to boost output. So obviously that brings oil down. I don't think oil's going to go into any sort of bear market or anything like that, guys. It'll come down, but it'll come down for me within a flat or within a correction of the last move up. And because it's risk off, obviously you're going to get a movement into possibly the Swiss, the yen, and the dollar, which is unfortunate for me because I'm short the dollar at the moment. You just got to grin and bear it, guys. You can't panic in these situations. There are times when it just seems like everything you've got into goes short. And that's the time to go and look and see what other people are doing, guys, what other traders, successful traders, what's their accounts look like. And if they're getting drawn down as well, then it doesn't mean you don't do anything, but at least you're all in the same boat, guys. It's kind of like if you're in a boat in a harbour and the tide goes down, all the boats drop, guys. And then when the tide comes in, they all lift again. But if you're dropping and everyone else is staying steady, then maybe you have to look at your account and say, what are we doing wrong here, guys? So you can always learn from what's happening to everyone else. Take all of the information. Don't be arrogant and sit and think that you're right and everybody else is wrong, guys, or that you've been at this for 5 years or 10 years, whatever length it is, and think that you know better than everyone else. No, take a look around, gather the information, but be careful about making decisions based on it. Don't be making any rash decisions, guys. Okay, so let's look at this week's economic calendar, next 7 days. There's nothing on today. That's why we're looking at the next 7 days. July the 20th, we've got inflation rate in Japan. Don't think it will be necessarily enough to make anything happen so far as the yen's concerned or monetary policy. Just thinking, what's today? Oh, that's tomorrow then. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, ECB interest rate decision and the press conference. that's probably the biggest bit of news of the week. And then we've got Friday, market manufacturing PMI flash in the United States. We'll have to see how that comes out, guys. So Thursday really is what we're looking forward to, and then a little bit of information on Friday, so far as the economic calendar is concerned. So nothing too much there. Let's go over and look at the charts. I'm trying to do this a little bit more quickly, guys, because they usually take an hour, and it's a bit much to ask people to listen for an hour. So if we can go through it a little bit quicker, then it'll be better for everyone all round. And then obviously, as I said, we'll do summaries and, little 10-minute summaries. And for those of you who have limited amount of time, you can just go and look at those. NASDAQ drawdown, as we said, we've been drawing down for most of last week, right through the 14th. Excuse me. And that's the 19th, so that's live at the moment. It's not open, but those figures come in futures, guys. Dow Jones, not live at the moment, but I suspect it will drop. I had a little run through these earlier, guys. And yet again, S&P, not live at the minute, but it should drop today. Nikkei, yep, it's been running down this morning. Isn't much of a move in there, but as we saw last week, we had that run down. It's still within that corrective structure, so we'll have to see if we get an acceleration out of it, guys. Or an impulse out of it, should I say. UK index, now, it's running flat. We had this drop last week, and this morning we've had this particularly 16th, 19th. Yeah, let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we've had that move there this morning. This is on a 1 hour, guys. So, is it a good time to buy, or is this going to break out short? That's the thing we need to ask ourselves, guys. At the moment, I think I'm just going to sit in my hands and watch for the next few days. I think it's about just under 50% in cash at the minute. So we'll have to see. You don't want to dump it in too soon, because if you put it in too soon, then you just get drawn down by that as well. So maybe leave that to the one side, let the other side draw down, and at some point, as we start to come back up, we'll start to spend the cash. So you'll end up with a bad month for July. And obviously, depending on how long the correction takes, if that's what we're in, then you'll have a better month later on. And then it averages out over the year, guys. Germany, quite a move down Germany. They've also got the floods in Germany, which won't be doing much for sentiment over there. But last week when we were up here, guys, look what I drew. And I said, well, that would be the place to start looking at going long. Don't jump into that just yet, guys. Let's see what happens to the rest of the world. When we start getting risk on, then, maybe that would be the place to look to trade that long. But we'll have to see how deep this is going to come first. China, it's still in that structure, guys. It's broken that. It's broken that bottom, but it's come back up again. But yet again, as we've been saying all along, I wouldn't rush to try and trade this index long. From here, I'd probably look for a bit more before looking to trade it up. If you were going to trade the index, I don't trade the indexes, guys. I'm basically using this. This is an overview for anyone that's new. This is an overview of the markets to try and get an idea of what's going on, and then see if there's any opportunities. At the moment, because I don't particularly like shorting, I don't see a lot of opportunities. But you can't take your eye off this. You've got to do this daily, guys, or else you don't know what's going on and you will miss the opportunities. So either you've got to do it yourself, or you've got to pick specific things that you're keeping an eye on, or you've got to listen to someone else that does it for you. Aussie, still running flat. but a bit of a rundown today, and quite a move down on the Russell, but that's what the Russell's been doing. So far, listen, these are drawdowns, and we don't like drawdowns, but up until now, it's nothing to write home about. It's the underlying sentiment that I'm getting a little bit concerned about. Although I have found in the past, listening to Bloomberg on down days doesn't happen because there's so much hype. They get all excited about small moves because at the end of the day, they're a media company, guys. That's what they sell. Although it's about money, it still has to be a little bit exciting. Here's something up there. S&P futures down 0.72. Dow Jones, oh, they flashed it up. It's gone again. But it was red across the board. That's the point I'm making here, guys. So that's the Russell. It's come down in what we said last week. If it come down to there, that would be the opportunity to buy it. Let's just make sure that it's not going to break south out of that structure. It could, given that sort of movement up, you would not be surprised. That's the reason that we've got the fib on there, guys. You would not be surprised if you saw a 50 or 60% retracement of that. It hasn't done that so far this year, but it's possible that it could do it, which is the reason why I've got that arrow in from there, guys. Okay, this is the one that's annoying me most because I hadn't traded the dollar for a very long time. And but when I saw this potential ending diagonal last week, the divergence, I decided to short it. And, well, you can see where it is at the minute. So I can't remember whether I put a stop loss in or not. I said I was going to. That's why that line was there. But I doubt that I've put it in. I think I'll put a stop loss above there, guys. That's the previous high in this, what I think is a flat correction. It's running flat here, guys. Not going to go through all the explanations of that again today. We ran through it quite a lot last week. But what we said last week is if this ending diagonal didn't come off immediately, you could see a move up into that sort of level, then you get a double top and then it comes off, guys. So I'm probably going to keep my short on up to there. And if it breaks above that, then I'll get out of it. And yet again here, it's the timing of these things, guys. Often when you do technical analysis, you get the analysis correct, but the timing's the thing. And often what will happen is you close your trade in a loss a week or a couple of days before the big move came that you were trying to trade. And it's so frustrating, guys, but you do always have to have limits. So I would rather put a stop loss above there, and if it gets stopped out there, then we'll call it a day, and we'll wait for the next opportunity. But when we saw that ending diagonal there, I was expecting that, not actually even as high as that, we're expecting to move up in maybe 50% up. And it took it that long to happen that I closed 2 trades through here for zeros, and then we missed the trade up, which is the reason why I'm a little bit reluctant to suddenly close this. And then all of a sudden tomorrow it's risk on again and the dollar does that. I don't know that that's going to happen, guys, but that's the thought process that my brain's going through with the dollar index. And obviously this will all, as you see, and anyone that watched last week, this will all be the opposite. Or we'll all move in the same way if the dollar does what I'm hoping that it does. I've changed from expecting to hoping. Guys, technically, I wouldn't bet against it. Let's put it that way. Either do nothing or be brave and try and trade it long. But there again, you can see that same divergence, guys. It's coming down there. But we've had this drop. The next move could be like that. And the same with this. You can see we're looking for this to go long, but If this risk off continues, then the dollar will continue to strengthen, guys. But underlying lack of interest rate, government printing of money, Fed's printing money, but then it's a comparison with what's everyone else doing, and the rest of the world's doing the same thing, guys. So when you listen to the so-called experts, half of them are saying the dollar's going to go short, but yet again it's about the timing, and the other half will be saying it's going long, guys. So sometimes you just got to make your own decision. New Zealand, US, I was looking for it to go long, hasn't. CAD, we were looking for that to break short. Not that we've traded it, but we were looking for it to drop. And obviously the double whammy of the risk-off situation that's boosted the dollar, and the fact that oil's dropped because OPEC's decided to boost their output, you've had that move. So anyone that was trading this long has done really, really well. I'm not in it. I did say last week that I wasn't overly confident of that happening. We just said, well, if the dollar goes short, then this will drop. But yeah, I'm going to take that arrow off for the meantime till we find out what's going on with the dollar, guys. And then obviously this is the same. We were looking for this to drop, but it's broken out long. Now, guys, the important thing here is it's not about being right all the time. It's about having a look at something, making a forecast, and when it doesn't come off, then reassess what's happening, and then make the next forecast. But you can't just do it from one day to the next. There will become a time when I'll say, do you know what? That's it. We're seeing the dollar drop. Or there'll come a time when I say, do you know what? I'm giving up on this strategy of it going short because of this reason, that reason, the other reason. We're now looking for opportunities to trade the dollar long. But at the moment, I'm just going to stick to my plan that the dollar's going to drop. But I'll not be taking any trades at the moment. Today, guys, we're going to wait and see. That's the yen dollar. Now, the yen will have taken a bit of a boost today with risk off, but that's then reflected in this, in that it hasn't really gone anywhere. And the Swiss is the same. It's moved up a little bit, but there'll be a risk off boost to the Swiss as well. If the gold were to move long, guys, we would see a better move on the Swiss. China is now running flat. We were expecting this to continue. It's come in flat. If the dollar continues to strengthen, then it will go long. I was looking for it to go short. So at the minute, I'm just sitting my hands, guys, with this. Gold's actually come short today, weirdly. Is this the start of the next leg down? I certainly hope not, but it's entirely possible. And then from there would be the place to buy it. And that will all depend. Obviously, there's places you make decisions. If gold came to there, I'd probably make the decision to buy it. The fact that it's there and I'm in it, then you've got to say to yourself, well, do I put a stop loss in somewhere? Or am I prepared to let it drop to there and then buy more as it comes up? Silver has also dropped. We were expecting silver to go long, but given that we had that, we were also saying that you get the other side of that zigzag, and then that would be the place, somewhere around this line would be the place to buy long. Bitcoin's continued to wither away. I have a very small position on Bitcoin in Coinbase. Basically, the reason I got involved in it was because when it was away up at 60,000, I just said, well, I'm not getting involved in that. So now that it's dropped off by, I think, approximately 50%, this must have been a daily chart. Let me bring that back in a bit. Now it's dropped off by approximately 50%. Yeah, 50, maybe even 55%. I'm starting to build up a little position on it. We're talking about a few $100s here, guys. We're not talking about thousands. Oil, well, there's the move down now. Remember, on a 4-hour time scale here. But what I did say and have been saying is that, yes, you'll get fluctuations in it, guys, but we're not looking for oil to go down into here. So I wouldn't suggest that you try and short oil. Can it come deeper than there? Yeah, come down into here maybe and run flat. It could even run flat within there. But as I pointed out there, I'm expecting oil to stay up in this region. Euro CAD. That's the drop in the oil price has caused that to happen, guys. We kind of were that structure there kind of pointed towards that, but you're not going to get them always right. So what do you do next, guys? Well, you got to wait. If you're in it, fantastic. Make up your mind whether you're going to take your profit or whether you're going to put a stop loss looking for more upside. If you're not in it, then you're going to have to wait for more information, guys. In other words, you're going to have to wait to see if it's going to correct back from there in some meaningful way and then break out again. Euro Oz, it's still within this, guys. It has broken out long, but it's still within that. There was the little setup, but I guarantee if you'd have taken that, not guarantee, that's the wrong terminology. When you see these impulse correction, it's a good setup to go long, guys. But often you've got to be prepared that it will drop further, come back down into the bottom of the channel before it goes. But the thing is, if you don't take them, then you miss them. I wasn't particularly interested in trading this long the other day, but when you zoom in, remember we're on 4 hours here, and if you're going to be looking for little trades, you know, you're going to be down in your 1 hour time scale. So the trade was there, guys. It broke out and off it went. Euro New Zealand, same thing, guys. On a higher time scale, we've just got this big corrective structure, and it's not something I'm particularly interested in. So yet again, I'm not trading it. Euro yen. There's a little boost to the yen there. But that structure for me looks like it wants to point long, but I'm not jumping into it yet. We'll see what happens with the interest rate decision later in the week, folks. Euro Swiss, it's still in this downtrend. I'm not interested in it at the moment. Pound CAD, well, there you go. Let's go back out to the 4 hours. Not going to be very decisive today, guys. We'll have to see what happens with these. Pound CAD pushed up, but it's still within this flat correction. There was no particular reason to get involved in it the other day. Pound Oz, so the pound's getting a bit of a boost. Now, I'm just wondering if this boost in the pound has anything to do with that so-called Freedom Day. And if it is because of that, then you could see a big reversal when sentiment changes as the numbers continue to go up, or the government could turn around and say, hey, listen, you know, I know we said it was Freedom Day, but you know, we're going to wind it back a little bit. Pound New Zealand, it's also in this corrective structure. Pound Swiss, corrective structure, running flat near the bottom of it. Not going to make any calls at the minute. Pound Euro, corrective structure, it's at the bottom of it at the moment. There's nothing here to get excited about. Pound Yen, corrective structure. Aussie Yen, there's the little boost to the yen. I did say last week if it got down to there, we'd start to think about trading it long, but that decision will not happen today, folks. We'll have to see a risk on day to trade against that. This was my little debacle last week where we tried to trade that long, get thumped, stopped out of that now. It's coming down into there. If it's going to continue flat, it'll come up from there. I don't know enough about it at the minute to want to trade. There's nothing here I want to trade, guys. I'm just going to sit in my hands this week and see what happens. Aussie Swiss, yet again, we were looking for it to come long. But if this risk off continues, it will go in that direction and not come up. Remember, that was a technical trade. But fundamentally, things aren't looking good. You want your fundamentals and your technicals to line up before you're going to risk your money, guys. And at the moment, that looks long, but in all probability, it's going to go short. But there isn't a setup to trade it short, so I wouldn't touch it either. Aussie CAD, there's a little push up, but yet again, as we said the other day, if it were to drop down into there, then maybe you trade it up. And the reason that you do that, guys, is because it's going to stay in that flat correction. If you trade from there and it moves up to there and then comes off again, well, if you've bought in there, then you can get your stop to zero and you lose nothing. If you buy in there, then it decides to go that way, then you're immediately in the red and you're losing, guys. So that's the reason you've got to wait for the right place. I mean, that would have been a good place to go long back down there. As I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing. It's pushed up. It's gone. If you're in it, fantastic. If you're not in it, you're going to have to wait for that trend to continue, if it is going to continue, and you're going to have to wait for a setup. In other words, if this were to turn out to be the start of a leg up, because from way back here when we saw this, we kind of said, listen, we think the Aussie and the CAD will run flat. This is way back in, when was this? March, way back in March. We said we thought it would run flat, but we weren't entirely sure. Was it going to run flat in a range like that or, a wider range? But when we got that and a pullback, now I didn't trade this and was a bit annoyed with myself for not trading it. Because yet again, when it did that, I said, this could well give us a zigzag. And there you have it. And from there, we'll back up again. But the fundamentals at the time weren't running for me. But if the oil price continues to not necessarily drop, but drop even within a range, you could well see a little bit of movement up in that direction. But are you going to jump into that candle? No, because in all probability, that will come off. And if you jump in there, chances are it'll come back down like that, guys. If it does something like that, gives us something that looks like that over the next week, then maybe you set it up to trade it long. Can it do that? Well, it can, but that would be very unusual. Remember, always trading probabilities, guys. Yet again, Swiss yen looks like it wants to do that. Whether it's going to do it or not, I don't know. But if it came down to there, it would give me a lot of thought about potentially trading it long from there. CAD Swiss. This is my favorite pair to trade, or certainly has been this year anyway. And when it dropped the other day, I was starting to contemplate whether to trade it up, and I decided, no, let's leave it and we'll see what's happening with the overall market. And as you can see, it's pushed on further down. Let whatever's happening at the minute happen. If it settles down, then we'll start to look to trade it back up. CAD yen, same thing. The double whammy of oil price going down, and we've got a risk off day, and that's the reason that you've had that. New Zealand, not so much of a move there. New Zealand CAD, well, there's a nice breakout there. We were looking for a breakout long, guys, as with the Aussie CAD, but yet again, it was about getting the right setup. And the reason for all those arrows in there is because we had, remember this is a 4-hour time scale, guys. We had that breakout the other day. And then it was a case of saying, well, if it drops again that would be your setup to take the next one long. As it turned out, that looks to me like a little running flat there, guys. So it's come up, running flat, broke out the top. What do you do next? Well, you've got to wait for the next structure, guys. If you're in it, fantastic. Make up your mind. Do you put your stop to zero? Do you take your profit? Do you take half your profit and try and save the rest of run? Other than that, if you're not in it, you're going to have to wait to see if it gives you another setup, and then maybe you trade it. You've got to be patient, folks. New Zealand Swiss. It's going to be hard to do a summary today because there's nothing positive to tell. New Zealand Swiss, looking for that to drop based on that, and also based on maybe the gold price going long. So I don't know if it's going to happen or not, so I'll take it off. But the point I'm making is that I wouldn't trade long with that potential downside to it there. And that's it. Let's just look at gold price again, because that means a lot to me at the minute. And that's coming off at the minute. Not a great day, guys, as far as this is concerned. Yeah, we're down 275 now, which is a horrible month for me, guys. But it's not out of, it's not down 10% so far. But it's just part of it. You can't, let's not overreact, guys. And then let's just go and look at what our pal Jay's doing. And maybe let's look at a couple more as well. I think Jay will probably be worse than me. Yeah, down 7.28%. And who else will we look at? Let's pick another one. I think everybody's down, guys. Because even crypto's not rescuing anyone at the moment, because crypto's down as well. Just trying to think. Oliver. Yeah, Oliver's got 7,000 followers. Let's see what Oliver's doing. Oh, Oliver's up. 0.14%. Yeah. Oliver's a super conservative guy, folks. So he's not trading the same way we are. So it's actually not a great example. But you can see he's up 0.14%. So things aren't particularly going well there either. One girl, he does cryptos. Can't remember what all of these folks do, folks. That's not working. Have to refresh this, folks. Yeah, down 4%. 9.82, so he's kind of similar to me in what he's managed this year, and last year 97%, guys. So it just shows you this year's been a lot tougher than last year. A lot tougher. Okay, that's it for today. I might put a summary out. It's not a lot there to put a summary out about, guys. But one thing I do want to do, I just remembered, I'll do this today. In the portfolio here, I have CRISPR, guys, Corsair. Got rid of CRISPR. That's down 14%, but I've got 6% on it. So for me, that's one of the main things that's drawing me down. But if you go over and you look at it, you'll not find me with many trades like that, guys. Take profit. If you look at the research on this, and this is what I want to do, 100% strong buy, looking for 70% increase from where it is today. If we go back and look at the chart, we had a short squeeze. That looks like a short squeeze to me, guys. I remember, I don't remember which day it was, but I remember opening the market opening that day and the account shooting away up, and I think I got 2 trades on 40% and 30%. I just went, whoa, I'm taking that, and I closed them. And then it started to drop, and unfortunately I started buying in again as it dropped down through here. And then we've had this. So we'll do a video on that, guys, just to see whether it's worth buying it at this level. Okay, that'll do for the day. I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.